Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all about gentle skincare, sometimes self-care, and today we're talking azelaic acid. Now, this is one of my favorite ingredients because it's so multi-beneficial. I mean, if you're looking for benefits for an ingredient to help with your congestion-prone skin, for redness, and to help brighten up your skin, like this is the ingredient for you. I have been using azelaic acid for 7 or 8 years now. It has absolutely transformed my skin and has been so helpful. So today I want to share with you what is azelaic acid, what can it do for you, and I want to give you some product recommendations as well. So if you're so ready, give the video a big thumbs up and let's jump in. So let's talk about the benefits of azelaic acid because, as I mentioned, there are many, and it can be very helpful to a couple of different skin concerns. So we really break it down into 4 main benefits. The first is that it's antibacterial, but not only is it antibacterial, which can be great if you're acne prone, it specifically has been shown to be beneficial for fighting against P. acnes. That's the acne bacteria. So it is a really great antibacterial ingredient to add into your routine. And you know, fun fact, oftentimes when it comes to dealing with acne, the general advice is to use an ingredient like salicylic acid, which is a BHA, right? BHA actually is not an antibacterial ingredient. It definitely can help to exfoliate, but it doesn't have that bacteria fighting ability, but azelaic acid does. So the second benefit is that it helps to regulate your skin cell production. Now, this mechanism is different than the exfoliating properties of AHA and BHA. AHA works at the top of your skin to shed away dead skin cells, and BHA is oil soluble, so it goes inside the pore and helps to exfoliate inside to get those dead skin cells out. The way azelaic acid works is to regulate the production of the skin cells in the first place. So with regular and consistent use of azelaic acid, you're going to see a decrease in the activity of clogged pores, of congestion, of whiteheads, of blackheads, because the skin cells are behaving a little bit more regularly, right? They're a little bit more balanced. They're not overproducing. They're not necessarily getting stuck and trapped inside of the pores. The third benefit is that it's a great anti-inflammatory ingredient. And as I mentioned, you know, azelaic acid, very appropriate for acne-prone skin or congestion-prone skin, you know, when those clogs get inflamed and they're so red and they're so bumpy. So the anti-inflammatory benefit of azelaic acid can help to reduce that swelling and that inflammation and that redness on the skin. But it also is very beneficial for those who suffer with rosacea. It is an ingredient that is often prescribed for rosacea-prone skin to help reduce the amount of inflammation that's causing the redness in the first place. And the fourth benefit is brightening. Azelaic acid is super good at helping to brighten up the complexion, but it's particularly good at targeting hyperpigmentation and melasma. You know, so hyperpigmentation, my skin is just like that perfect kind of skin where if I get that inflammatory event with those clogged pores, right, and the inflammation, afterwards I get a dark mark. It's really annoying because you know those dark marks are really hard to fade. Azelaic acid, like I said, multi-beneficial. It is targeting every little facet. If you are getting that inflammation event on your skin, it helps to reduce the inflammation. If it was caused by bacteria, it helps to fight the bacteria, but then it also helps to brighten the skin as well. You don't have to worry about mixing it with AHAs or BHAs in the same routine. It can actually be beneficial for retinol or tretinoin use. It's actually a fantastic pair with niacinamide. So it's a really easy, chill team player. But I will say, while there are no ingredient conflicts, I think it's still important to regard azelaic acid like an AHA or a BHA, and the fact that it can make your skin feel a little bit more sensitive. It's great for sensitive skin, but if you're going to also pair it with other actives, you could increase the chance of sensitivity. And I'm talking about pairing it in the same skincare routine. So if you do like to use other actives, but maybe you are prone to sensitivity, just split them up, put them in different routines, different nights or AM and PM, however you want. But if you have really resilient skin, and this just comes down to knowing yourself, right? If your skin's really resilient, you don't have to worry if you want to use it alongside of your retinol or maybe an AHA or a BHA type of product. It's a really great team player, and it's not going to conflict with anything else. So as I mentioned, I have been using azelaic acid since very late in 2015 and into the beginning of 2016 is when I first started using azelaic acid, and it really transformed my skin. After some research and diving into blogs and really trying to understand what was going on with my skin, there was a lot of things at play, of course, things like a weak moisture barrier, dehydrated skin, much more prone to that congestion, right? Maybe using the wrong products. But I landed on this ingredient, azelaic acid, and at the time it was actually kind of hard to get, but I landed on this ingredient. I was able to get it through Curology, which is like an online dermatology service, and it really started to clear up my skin, and it really helped with the redness. Almost immediately the redness was gone, which was a huge thing because that was what was contributing to me feeling so bad about my skin, was all that blotchy redness. And then it really started to help fade the hyperpigmentation faster, which also increased my confidence. And then I really did notice that the congestion was going down. So it was a little bit of a process. I did start to see results fairly soon, but with consistent use over years, I completely cleared my skin. At least I feel that I have completely cleared my skin. This is an ingredient that I still use today. I know I focus a lot on my tretinoin journey, but the tretinoin that I use is a compound formula that also includes azelaic acid. It is a non-negotiable ingredient for me because, as I mentioned, it transformed my skin and it's keeping my pores so much more clear. Yes, I get clogged pores here and there for sure. I get acne, pimples. It's just not the way that it used to be. So let's talk about products, because we're in a really nice golden age here where azelaic acid is available over the counter, and it's starting to become a lot more popular in skincare products. So you don't have to go to a dermatologist to get a prescription. You don't necessarily have to do an online service if you don't want to. You can just go to the store and buy an azelaic acid product, which is awesome. Now, here in the United States where I live, over-the-counter azelaic acid is available up to 10%. If you need something higher than that, that's when you need the prescription. That's when you need to go to your dermatologist to get like a 15 to 20%. So especially if you're dealing with some severe rosacea, that might be the way to go, is to go to a dermatologist and talk about your options with azelaic acid, because you may need more of that prescription strength. But you may also be like me, where you just have the congestion, maybe some redness, maybe some hyperpigmentation. You want to keep your pores clear and you want to start with something a little bit more accessible. Let's start with those products first. Paula's Choice 10% Azelaic Acid Booster. This is a really great azelaic acid product using 10% of azelaic acid, and it's also been combined with salicylic acid, which I absolutely love because, as I mentioned, azelaic acid is a team player. So this is a really nice combination for really helping to clear out the congestion in the pores. I also like that they've combined it with bisabolol, which is a nice soothing ingredient. It's nice to see that alongside of the azelaic acid, and licorice root extract, which is a ingredient that can also help with brightening the skin. So you can see how the azelaic acid is being complemented and boosted with these other ingredients. I really like the texture of this. Most azelaic acid products will come in a cream type of texture. This has a really, really pleasing one. It is creamy and silky, but it's not like overly moisturizing. It's not so emollient. It doesn't have like an oil feel or anything like that. So this is a cream that you would apply in a thin layer right before your moisturizer, and it just feels really nice on the skin. It's not heavy, it's not silicone-y, it doesn't pill, at least in my experience, and it's not very, very rich, like it's leaving your skin greasy. I think it'll work for a lot of different skin types. I have to be honest with you, it's quite pricey. It's the most expensive product in the list because, hey, Paula's Choice isn't a cheap brand, right? This does retail for $39 for 30 milliliter of products. I will say, though, you only need a small small amount, so it will last you a good amount of time. And I think that this is really geared towards those who are struggling with acne and congestion, because the additional ingredients in here really help to support clearing that out and really help with the exfoliation process. Next, let's talk about Baha Azelaic Acid 10%. Now, this is on the much more affordable side of things. You can get this anywhere from like $12 to $14 for 30 milliliter of product. And this is 10% of azelaic acid combined with 2% of niacinamide. And that really helps to enhance the anti-inflammatory and the brightening effects of azelaic acid. So the texture is like a medium gel type of texture. It's not super duper hydrating, but it's not like creamy or moisturizing either. It's just kind of like a nice, very plain, kind of like nondescript, if you will, gel type of texture. That's how I feel about a lot of Baha products. I always talk about them like they're the Korean, the ordinary. You know how the ordinary, it can sometimes have like inelegant textures because they're focused on just delivering the best like ingredient at the most affordable price, and they're not doing super complicated formulas or really focusing on like texture and packaging. That's exactly what Baha is, and that's why this serum is so affordable. They're focusing on the azelaic acid, the niacinamide, and that is it. And so that's kind of translates to the texture. It's not very sticky or tacky or inelegant necessarily, but it's not really like anything to sing home to either. I do think that this will work for a majority of skin types as a treatment serum, so I can't complain there, right? As long as it does what it needs to do, we're good to go. This is going to be my recommendation if you're thinking about using azelaic acid mainly for the brightening benefits for fading hyperpigmentation or maybe working on melasma, because this serum, especially with the additional 2% of niacinamide, is really designed to especially help with the redness, with the hyperpigmentation, with the inflammation, with the unevenness of the skin tone. I think that's where this serum particularly shines. You will still get the congestion benefits, right? It will help to gently unclog your pores over time, but each formula is going to be formulated in slightly different ways. And so just in my experience, I've noticed that it's particularly good at hyperpigmentation and helping to reduce redness on the skin. And speaking of the ordinary, this is their azelaic acid suspension. It retails for about $11 for 30 milliliter of product. And this features 10% of azelaic acid. And that's really it. As I mentioned, the ordinary is really focused on just delivering those ingredients into your skin and not being really fancy about marketing or packaging or textures. Now, this is another cream-based azelaic acid, but it's not creamy and silky and fluffy like the Paula's Choice azelaic acid. It's actually a silicone-based cream, and so that actually produces a much different experience in the texture. It has been designed to apply in a very thin layer on the skin, and it has been designed to absorb and dry, like it has a very dry touch kind of feel to it. That's a little bit unique, and that's really what the silicone is doing in this formula. It's really helping it to layer underneath the moisturizer a little bit easier than if you were to put like a thin cream that feels moisturizing, then you put another moisturizer on top of that. That could be too much for some people, and so putting it into the silicone suspension, it can help with the absorbency. It can just help with how it feels, the lightweightness of it, because it can be hard to work an additional cream into your skincare routine, right? Because it is silicone based though, it can pose some problems with pilling. Now, the thing I think we all, and including myself, forget about pilling is that it's a reaction often between two different skincare products. So it really is individual depending on what you've used before or after, depending on how things have absorbed into your skin, depending on how well your skin just accepts multiple layers or multiple products of skincare, right? That's when pilling can occur. And so sometimes a product will pill, sometimes it won't. It will pill for one person, it won't pill for the other. It only pills in certain circumstances, right? I cannot say like concrete fact this is going to happen for you. I have experienced pilling with this, and I haven't experienced pilling with this, but I have found that mixing this with just a touch of your moisturizer, just like a little pea size amount, mixing it in really it makes the texture so much more easy to work with. I do find that helps to cut down on the instances of pilling, but like I said, it's very much like depends on my other products, but it just made using this product a lot more joyful for me. Now, I know some people can be a little bit iffy about mixing products, especially with an active like azelaic acid. As I mentioned, it's so chill. It is so laid back. You're absolutely fine. You're not deactivating it. You're not compromising the formula or the effectiveness of it. It absolutely can stand up to be mixed with a little bit of moisturizer. This is not like a sunscreen product where the filters are going to become unstable or anything like that. This product, as I mentioned, is one of the more affordable ones in the video, and I think it's one of the more accessible brands for depending on where you live, right? So I think that's where my recommendation lies, is if you want to try azelaic acid, but you don't want to break the bank and spend $40 on Paula's Choice, right? And you're not ready to commit to a dermatologist or an online service. But I also think that this is a great formula for those who do have skin sensitivities, because we don't have, none of the products have fragrance, essential oils, or drying forms of alcohol, but you may have noticed in the other products, we have some of those other star ingredients. We have other actives. We have maybe some plant extracts. This formula sidesteps a lot of that. So if you have sensitivities to hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, plant extracts, anything like that, it's not in here. It's just azelaic acid and like a bunch of like texture enhancers and silicones and things that help to deliver the azelaic acid into your skin. And finally, I want to just talk about some of those online dermatology services that I've mentioned a little bit throughout the video. First and foremost, this is not sponsored. It is not. I will say I have used Curology agency and most recently Dermatica to obtain azelaic acid. And I will also be very honest with you. I have accepted partnerships or sponsorships with each of those brands throughout the years. This video is not part of that. It is not sponsored. But because I've personally used them and I do really enjoy this method of obtaining azelaic acid, it doesn't make sense for me to not talk about it, right? I think where these services really shine is their ability to combine other active ingredients that are a little bit more customized to what your skin needs. And as I, slowly started to get results, slowly started to clear my skin, slowly started to keep my skin clear, my goals started to change. And so I was able to really kind of like customize that with the online services. So then I started working on my well aging goals, and I moved over to tretinoin in 2020, first with Curology, and then I graduated to their sister brand agency, which is just a little bit more focused on the anti-aging journey. Both are really, really great. Curology, a little bit more focused on acne, agency, a little bit more focused on well aging, but you can still get tretinoin with Curology. So then I moved over to agency, and I have my azelaic acid and my tretinoin. And then recently I've been trying out Dermatica because I just kind of wanted to expand my horizons a little bit. And their service offers 2 compound ingredients. And so I just went back to my good old like duo, tretinoin and azelaic acid. So I hope you enjoyed learning a lot more about one of my favorite go-to ingredients. And I'm curious if you've used azelaic acid before. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comment box below. Now, if this video was helpful to you and you haven't hit subscribe yet, please, I would be so honored if you would subscribe to my channel before you go, especially if you love like gentle skincare, especially if you love deep diving into ingredients just like in this video, because that's what my channel is all about. So, hit subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications because I do release a lot of new videos throughout the week. I do long form videos, I do shorts, and I also have a video skincare podcast as well. I hope you are healthy, happy, and safe wherever you are in the world. I want to thank you for being here with me today. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.